effect fire background sitting in front of me in the panel. But structured fires, so a structured fire could be anything from a culinary mishap of someone cooking to a working structure fire. For this quarter, we responded to 6 of those. We responded to 28 alarms. That's when alarms in a residential or commercial buildings go off, typically due to dust or cobwebs. And unfortunately, these, I don't know why, they always happen between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning. And my 2 fellow firefighters can attest to that. So there's a lot of mornings where we don't get much sleep. CO alarms, 2. Vehicle fires, we had none VAs. We've had 13 motor vehicle accidents, 9 wires calls. Usually when a storm comes through, we get down wires, arcing wires. We assisted the police in 2 separate incidents. We assisted EMS for 3 calls, and we do assist them when they have a 1 echo where somebody's not breathing, or they get a patient to where it's tight spaces and they need help lifting. We assist with that as well. 3 rescue calls, and I'll allude to the one we just had as this Zim Smith Trail over the weekend was the horse. Was on top of a gentleman who was spooked by a couple skateboarders, and the horse was on him and would not get off him. So we got called to assist with that. So we never know what we're going to do. 35 years, I've never had that one, but it was always a first. 3 hazmat calls, 5 mutual aid calls where we go out and help our surrounding districts that call us for help. 2 brush fires and 2 pump outs for a total of 78 calls for that time. So over the quarterly training, and this is very important, that I wanted to touch on this, and I never had intention, when we first talked about it, but I think this is very important for you to hear this because there's many, many man hours here with training, from existing firefighters that are in the department to new firefighters that come in. So over this quarter, we've had 2 firefighters attend Firefighter 1 training. And bear with me because I want to explain what these classes are. So 2 firefighters went through 81 hours of this training. This is an entry program for firefighting personnel. This course introduces firefighting concepts, practices, and techniques necessary for a new member to become an interior structural firefighter. Okay, that gives him that training to be able to, or her, to go through the front door or however where to get into that structure that's on fire. Firefighter survival is a 12-hour class. We had 2 firefighters go through that as well. This is a program based on FDNY Fire Chief John Salkus' Get Out Alive program. He built that program. This is a program that is designed for a firefighter to self-rescue themselves who may be disoriented or trapped, and the rescue or trapped other firefighters to assist as well. Firefighter 2 class, it's a 42-hour class. We've had 6 firefighters go through that. Again, this is all in the quarter. The course is an offset of Firefighter 1, which I've already explained, and considered the last step in initial level training for interior structural firefighters. It consists of performance criteria and an incident command implementation, building materials, and collapse, as well as a special rescue. We've had 3 firefighters go through a FAST class. This FAST is, these 3 firefighters have been added to what we call our FAST team. We have a FAST team in the village that we are utilizing to be able to support our mutual aid fire companies. And that FAST team is called, and we're called up the city of Saratoga often, more so than anywhere else. But when we get called, we have a special team that's going through this special training that basically sits back and waits. If there's a mayday or a trapped firefighter inside, those other firefighters on the scene working at structure fire do not partake in that rescue. The FAST team does. All right, so that's basically what this whole team is. This training includes training and knowledge to develop a rescue plan for a missing, lost, or trapped firefighter, demonstrate rope search techniques, and demonstrate removing a firefighter victim up a stairwell, up or down through a hole in a floor or roof, moving a downed firefighter out of a window, and lowering a firefighter down a ladder. All this with full turnout gear and SCBA, the whole time of training. And last but not least, I had 3 firefighters that went through NFPA 1403. It's a live fire class. This course gives you the necessary knowledge and tools to properly prepare and conduct live fire training evolutions to include municipal training centers, gas fire training buildings with exterior props, vehicle fires, and acquired structures. Total man hours is 495, not to mention the mandatory training we have on Monday nights that the companies all attend, which is on second, third, and fourth Mondays of each month. Back to that firefighter one class, 81 hours. So these are people who go through their normal job during the day, and then they attend 2 nights a week. It could be Porter's Corners, way out west. It could be in Southwest Falls, way up north, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., 2 nights a week. And this goes on for 3.5 months. So they put in a lot of time to be a firefighter for the residents of this village and surrounding towns as well. So basically that's my quarterly report. As I promised you, I would give you, and I just wanted to share the training because I think it's important for you, for the board to realize we're not just a bunch of loose cannons running around in a bunch of big red trucks. You know, we're really working hard. These firefighters, I give them so much credit. And, you know, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to have the job that I had, be easy as I have it, honestly, all right? One other thing I have is that Eagle Valley Fire Company last Monday night approved 2 AEDs, defibrillators, all right, for EMS. And I'm sure there's one in this building somewhere, which hasn't, you know, I'm sure it's probably upstairs. So we approved 2 of them. One of them to replace the one in our fire truck that is so old that we can't even get parts for anymore. And the second one was for the firehouse. All right, I spoke up at the meeting. I recommended we turn down the one for the firehouse. I honestly think that should come from the village. It is a public building for voting. And I feel that the village ought to be having an AED in firehouses, not to be coming out of our budget for us to spend that money on. So I think I want you to take that away tonight and discuss that, if you could. They are approximately about $1,500, but I don't put the price tag on life and safety. So being a public building, I think it's very important that we do have one there. The last thing I have, and I hate to bring this up to you, ma'am, but I'm a muscle car guy, and I love the car show, but I will not support it on Front Street, being that location as fire chief. All right, and that's just turn it over to you guys with that, and I'm just going to make it a note. All right, I just think we don't have access to what we need to get access to on Front Street with that car show there, and I was never for it, for that location. We got a great fairgrounds up there, up on the hill. I know it's not walking distance for the village residents, but as fire chief, I'll just, you know, make that known, all right?
Thank you, Chief Crow. Appreciate the report. Unless there's other business to come before the board tonight, I'll move on to public comment.
I just wondering, the old business with the antenna on the water tower, did we vote to put that on?
No,
We never voted.
the contract never made it to you
Okay.
because I didn't
All
bring it to you
Okay,
because it was flawed.
all right, so we voted on some other thing to go on the water tower?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
All right.
we'll move on now to public comment. Anyone who wishes to address the board, please, for the clerk's notes, state your name and address, and you probably walk over there to the microphone so that we have you on tape and you can't deny saying it later.
Anna Spango, 32 Kent Street, Ballston Spa, New York. I'm actually here with my county hat on tonight, but before that, I would just like to thank these guys back here, because I'm telling you what, my ex-husband was a firefighter, and Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, any time of the day or night, you put that 911 call and those guys are there. So I strongly hope that you guys all support them as much as they need the support financially. This issue came up last year. My department at the county, real property, does the budgets and the tax levies for every municipality within the county after we receive the town tax levies and their budgets. And we perform our magic, and we tell every town in Saratoga County what their portion of the tax levy is going to be. One of the issues that came up last year was the village re-levies. There are there are 9 villages in Saratoga County. 5 of them, their village tax bills are due July 1st. But they give residents until October 31st to pay their tax bill. By the time the treasurer has time to balance all of her books, send them up to the county treasurer, who again has to look at those books and balance those books. And then that information gets to our office sometime mid-November. We literally have about a week to get all of those numbers put into this massive amount of formulas and come up with all the levies for all the towns in Saratoga County. So I was actually going to reach out to all of the mayors that are involved here and say, can you guys look at this? Is this a local law? Is it a resolution? Why are we giving people 4 or 5 months to pay their tax bill? If they can't pay it by October 1st, what's the chance they are gonna be able to pay it by October 31st? So I just would kinda like to put this in your ear for next year. I know it's too late this year to do anything about it, but for next year, we have a range from September 30th to October 15th. August 31st is Waterford's. If for some reason the village could look at shortening your time period, that would help out both the or the county treasurer and real property in, this is purely,
Thank you. Yeah, we'll be happy to look at that.
I'm purely being, help me out please here. It is a tremendous amount of work. You guys know what it is for doing your budget. Can you imagine doing it for the entire county? So
We'll be happy to take a look at that.
I wasn't aware.
Yes, it does.
I know.
Do you have a suggestion?
Ideal, yeah.
Well, like I said, the first one is, if you can have it by October 1st.
That's what
If
I wrote.
October 1st would be good, then by the time Julia does her thing, gets it up to county treasurers and back to us, that's mid-October. That's right when we start getting all the other information in. All the town budgets come to us the beginning of November to mid-November, and then we have to do it all. By the first week in December, we are ready to print 100,000 tax bills for the county. So there's a lot of work that happens in a very short period of time right there. So the sooner we can start getting some of that information in, the better it is for me, for my staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
You got nothing else to worry about in November and December, do you?
No.
Any other public comment tonight? Ms. Dardaris?
I know, I had to walk so far.
You wanna take a seat over there?
Donna Dardaris, 64 Middle Street. I am very interested in the discussion on public sidewalks. I'm hoping that next week is a workshop for the board to decide how they're going to frame it, and that there will be another public meeting, since the one next week is very short notice.
Oh,
And unlike Trustee Cormos, I'm not willing to blow off the BSBPA meeting that I'm scheduled to go to attend.
Sorry.
I have lived on Middle Street for 31 years. There were not sidewalks there when I moved in. I have done a lot of landscaping work, like taking out the ugly old concrete retaining wall that was in my front yard, and paying a lot of money to Brookside Nursery to redesign it. And I definitely want to know what any new law is going to be, because after 31 years, if I'm going to be required to pay for the installation of a sidewalk, I'm going to have something more to say about it.
Thank you. We will definitely revisit the issue in public at future meetings. We're required to have a public hearing that's advertised a couple weeks in advance before we can vote on anything.
So you're just doing a workshop, plan of attack, then no voting, no nothing?
Discussion, yes.
Perfect.
Any other public comment tonight? Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Pat Stack.
Please.
Your address.
Yes, 26 Crestline Drive, Ballston Spa. I just have, this may not be the proper forum, but I just have something to put before the trustees. I've lived in our neighborhood for over 25 years. It's a nice neighborhood, we're up by the fairgrounds. It's a family neighborhood, a retired neighborhood, and we have good neighbors. What's come to my attention is that the town of Ballston does their, once a year collection of stuff that you don't want, stick it out the curb. And the village doesn't do that. I think some residents in our neighborhood on Crestline Drive, that whole area, kind of saw that the town of Ballston was doing it, and for whatever reasons, because we've never done it up there ever, thought that they can put their stuff out as well, and there it sits for the past 5-6 weeks. I don't know if the village in the future could consider doing a once a year collection of stuff that people don't want. In the meantime, my neighbors, some of whom I know are upset, as I'm not too fond of looking at people's debris in their front lawn. I just was wondering if something could be done for that in the future, or if there's any type of village law that says, stuff has to be in containers, or the homeowner can be addressed by the village. I don't want to start anything with my neighbors, like, because I realize some people don't take care of their property like others, and I'm good with that. But to subject everyone in our neighborhood for the past 25 years that's never put out stuff, and left it there for weeks on end. And I don't really think that's fair to the neighborhood. I know I have done it, some of my other neighbors have done it with things you don't want to use anymore, like we put out some patio cushions with a free sign on it. They were snapped up in, 15 minutes. Or kids' toys go out, when people come by and they take the kids' toys. But this is basically debris. So, that being said, I just wanted to say my piece, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment tonight?
I just wondered, is there anything that the village can do about the piles up there? There's 3 houses.
The question for the recording is there anything the village can do about these 3 piles of refuse up by the fairground?
Name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeanette Schmidt,
Thank you.
26 Crestline Drive.
And I think the answer is there probably is, but 2 things have to happen. One is we have to be informed that the problem exists, because I don't, drive around all the streets of the village looking for stuff that needs to be cleaned up. Then I have to check specifically what the village code says. I mean, I'm sure we've got language in the code about keeping up your property, and I'm sure we have the ability to go in and do something about it if that's not done. And I can think of specific examples that we have gone in and cleaned up problems on certain properties, but I'd have to see exactly what the language says about this particular situation, and first I'd have to know the addresses and the locations. And
I got
Okay. Okay.
you already got them?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I would think it would be like
A complaint to the building
a complaint to the building.
inspector who will do a notice of violation, send it, the notice to the property owners. If the property owners don't comply within a certain period of time, then it goes to the town justice.
So, there's a procedure, for somebody.
Will it eventually get removed?
Okay, yeah, no, if the homeowner doesn't remove it, then
The
DPW
village.
removes it and charges, puts a fee to the homeowner to pay for that.
Thank you.
but
A complaint needs
a
to be made.
complaint needs to be made. You can make it to the village clerk, you can make it to the building inspector, you can make it to the mayor. But in some form, I have to have an email or a piece of paper saying this address, this problem.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment tonight? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public comment session. We do have reason to need to adjourn to executive session tonight. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I would guess at least a half hour. But there's no way I can predict exactly what people are gonna have to say about various subjects. You're welcome to stay here and wait for us to come back. We will come back after our executive session. We'll reconvene the public meeting. It's possible we will do one item of business before we adjourn. If you don't wanna stay for that, then thank you for coming tonight. It's always nice to see people. Could I have a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss a potential legal matter? Motion by trustee Baskin, second. Second by trustee Fitzpatrick. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. We're adjourned to executive session. We'll probably be back in a half hour, or we may or may not see